Some stories are more than just stories. They're about courage, about heartbreaking loss, and about a sacrifice that literally changed the future for millions. We're going to talk about a woman who built a world she never even got to see.
So let me just ask you this. What if I told you that India's very first woman doctor lived for only 21 years? Just 21. Think about that for a second. That's barely enough time for most of us to finish college today.
And what if she did all that in the time when women weren't even supposed to read? I mean, just opening a book was considered a dangerous, rebellious thing to do. So becoming a doctor, that was completely off the charts.
And here's the real kicker. What if her story isn't really about medicine at all? What if it's about pure, unadulterated rebellion? A rebellion against everything society, tradition, and an entire system of beliefs told her she had to be. Well, that is the incredible story of Dr. Anandibai Joshi.
21. I really want you to hold on to that number, because that's how old she was when she died. And when you hear what she accomplished, that number just hangs over everything, making it all seem, well, almost impossible.
All right, so to really get a grip on her story, we've got to go back in time. Let's picture it. It's 1865. India is under British rule, and for a woman, the world, well, it was a very, very small box with a lot of rules.
And I'm not talking about suggestions here. These were hard and fast, ironclad rules. Girls, they were seen as a responsibility to be married off, not someone you'd send to school. In fact, educating a woman was seen as flat-out dangerous to the social order. Becoming a doctor, unthinkable. And traveling abroad, wow, that was basically a social sin that could get you cast out for life. That was the world she was born into.
So you have to ask, right? How does a girl from a world like that even get the idea to become a doctor? Well, her mission, this revolutionary purpose of hers, it wasn't born from some grand ambition. It was born from pure tragedy. Okay, so when she was just 9 years old, she was married off to a man nearly 20 years older than her. Now that part was pretty typical for the time, but her husband, Gopal Rao, was different. He was a radical, and he had this belief that was totally out there for the 1800s, that women must be educated. So he taught her to read and write himself, basically unlocking a door that society was trying to keep bolted shut.
Then, when she's just 14, the unthinkable happens. She has a son, but there's no proper medical care, certainly no female doctors to help, and her baby boy lives for only 10 days. I mean, can you even imagine that loss? It absolutely shattered her. But in that brokenness, something new and incredibly strong began to form.
And this is really the moment everything changes. She basically says, if I had known medicine, I could have saved my own child. Wow, that's just devastating. You see, this wasn't her picking a career. This was a promise, a vow she made to herself, right there in the middle of all that pain. She was going to become a doctor, so no other woman would have to feel what she felt. So with this fire lit inside her, she decides to do something that was for all intents and purposes completely insane at the time. She's going to travel across the entire world to study medicine. And you got to understand, this wasn't just a personal choice. This was a public challenge to everyone and everything.
Just look at this timeline. It's dizzying. Born in 65, married by 74, and then bam, the huge leap. In 1883, at only 19 years old, she gets on a boat and sails to America, by herself. 3 years later, she's a doctor, and just a year after that, she's gone. It's like her whole life, this massive, history-making life, happened in the blink of an eye.
And it's not like America was easy. Not at all. It was a constant fight. First, she's battling tuberculosis, which is literally eating her away. Then there's the crushing loneliness, the culture shock you can only imagine. On top of that, she's struggling with money. And through all of this, she's crushing it in her classes, subjects that, back home, women weren't even allowed to speak about.
But she just kept going. She did the impossible. She won. But, and this is the hard part of the story, that incredible victory came with a terrible, terrible price.
And then, in 1886, it happened. She graduated. She became Dr. Anandibai Joshi. Just let that sink in for a minute. The little girl who wasn't supposed to even read a book was now a doctor of medicine. And people noticed. Oh, did they notice? This was a huge deal. The news went everywhere. We're talking Queen Victoria sending her a personal congratulations letter. Back in India, she became this instant symbol of hope, of what was possible.
She was immediately offered a position to be the lead physician at a hospital back home. The dream was happening.
So she sails back to India, and she gets this huge hero's welcome. She's ready. This is it. This is the moment she's given everything for. But there's that devastating cost we talked about. The years of battling illness, of stress, of pushing herself to the absolute limit in a foreign land. It had wrecked her body. She had won, but her own time was running out, fast. And then, on February 26, 1887, just before her 22nd birthday, Dr. Anandibai Joshi passed away from tuberculosis. She never got to truly practice medicine in her home country. But, and this is so important, her story does not end there. In a lot of ways, this is where her real legacy, her true impact, actually begins.
I mean, just look at these numbers. It's kind of mind-blowing when you put it this way. Her actual time practicing medicine? Less than a year. Her entire life? 21 years. But her legacy? Well, that's measured in the millions of female doctors who have come after her in India. Every single one of them is walking on a path that she carved out of solid rock with nothing but pure will.
There's this saying that I think just says it all perfectly. History remembers her quietly. The future lives because of her. You know, she might not be the most famous name you hear in history class, but the future she dreamed of, the one where women could be doctors and scientists and leaders, we're living in it. And a big reason for that is because of her.
So I want to leave you with this thought. Think about it. A 19-year-old girl back in 1883, sick, alone, crossing oceans to literally change the world. If she could do that, it kind of makes you ask yourself, doesn't it? What's really stopping us today?